Hello everyone, and welcome back. This episode here on Bitcoin Trade. Um, I'm going to talk about another experience I'm having and kind of want to share. And it's because mainly I read this article on how do you visualize cryptocurrency, and this is more or less um, talks about what people think of Bitcoin. How do you explain Bitcoin to other people? And they have a little video here and everything. And I'm sure for the majority of the public, and even to some degree maybe users of Bitcoins or investors, they're seeing this as a monetary or financial instrument. And I mentioned that in some of my previous videos. But as I become more and more involved in using Bitcoin and using it as a financial instrument, uh, I really had to ask myself, what in the hell is Bitcoin? And I, of course, the IRS came out with some guidelines like 2 weeks before April 15th, right? I mean, or barely. I mean, in realistic, giving guidelines in that short time frame before the due tax date was very crazy for my tax guy. But after that, we had some time to talk, and I'm trying to explain to him what is Bitcoin, because he's never heard of it until I called him about it. And then the guidelines, the IRS guidelines came out, and he's like, wow, I just got the guidelines myself. And so I'm trying to explain to him, and he's been doing my taxes for over 10 years. He knows pretty much everything about me financially for over 10 years. He's done my taxes. He's when I first went to him, he's done my tax for that year, and then he also did it for the last 3 years and got me my money back and all that stuff. And I began to realize some of the things that I was doing became way over my head, and a lot of things I've learned about taxes and businesses and all this stuff and money. I kind of learned from him because he was advising me in some way regarding my taxes, and it was very beneficial. But he's now 10 years, over 10 years older, and he's in his 60s, almost to 70, and he's been, since he'd never heard of Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies, I had to kind of step back and explain it to him without revealing too much of my trade secret, because he's not an attorney. If someone came up to him and said, hey, what did I tell him, he would have to tell them, and I don't want to give away my trade secret. So but I try to explain to him the best way I can, and I find it almost hard to explain to him what I'm doing, because you just have to experience the phenomenon of Bitcoin to understand it. You can't just explain to someone. And if I did explain to some, this is how I explained to him, that other than being a, something that you trade or use legal tender to trade Bitcoins and all that, other than that, I told him basically, and I really feel I can make a really good argument on this, is I told him that Bitcoins don't even exist at all. Bitcoins don't even exist at all. Not even in, people talk about they only exist in the digital world, or and I really thought about it, and I said, well, what do I mean by exist in the digital world. I even had to think about it while I was talking to him. And just to give you an idea, let's just go to blockchain here real quick. And this is the only thing, or if you have a wallet or some kind of exchange, I mean, this is the only thing that you're looking at that's Bitcoin. This. Let's just click on one. Let's see if I get. Ooh, there's a lot of things moving around. There. So we'll click on that. So there you go. And there you go. That's Bitcoin. But is that really Bitcoin? And I really started to think about it, and as I'm always trying to keep up to date with any news, any new guidelines, any new warnings, any new news, anybody getting arrested, or anybody, is there anything going on that's happening? So I came across this article, and let me scroll up so maybe you all can read it here. There's the article, and there's the name, and there's the website. Let me see, there's the other website, so you all can see it. So I'm looking at this, and I realize that, when I really thought about it, Bitcoin is nothing. And, not only is it nothing, but it also doesn't even exist at all. And so I told him that. I said, Bitcoins don't even exist at all. I can even say that not only do they not exist, it's just a conceptual idea. And what am I really trading? What am I really buying and selling? And I mentioned to him, I'm buying and selling nothing. I can also say that I'm also buying and selling an idea. And every time I sell my idea of what Bitcoin is, I'm spreading an idea. I'm spreading a belief. I'm spreading a concept. And that's what I'm buying and selling. And he had to wrap his brain around it for a little bit. And he's trying to just think in terms of taxes, and I understand where he's trying to come from, but I'm also trying to explain to him why I'm so heavy and deep into this. It's really, you can argue that Bitcoin is a belief, is a you're believing in something that doesn't exist at all, because Bitcoin is nothing. Whether it exists on the digital world or not, I mean, if I went up to someone, I said, and I asked them, can you show me what a Bitcoin is? Can anybody show me what a Bitcoin is? Has anybody seen a Bitcoin? And I really thought about that, asking that question, and my conclusion is Bitcoins don't even exist at all. And yet we believe it exists. We trade like it. We trade it like it exists. And it's so weird to explain to someone who's never even heard of Bitcoins to all of a sudden have this thrown at them, especially at tax season. And it's kind of weird. There's some similarities to another thing that most people believe in. Matter of fact, there's 99 or 98 or whatever of the world believes in this, that there's, they believe in something that you can't touch, you can't smell, but yet the idea of this belief can be transferred or passed on and spread. I want to be careful about what I say, because I don't want people to think I'm speaking heresy here. But if you look at the comparison of how Bitcoin is being spread and what 99 or 98% of the world's population believes in, you see some strong correlations. And it's just really, really hard for some people to wrap their heads around this. And it just, and some of my previous episodes, I've mentioned this. I mentioned we're entering into a new age. We're in a new world order. I never thought I'd be saying this kind of nonsense, but you have to ask yourself, the timing of Bitcoin, the way it's emerging at an exponential rate. Another way I can describe this also, and I kind of have, I'm not just your casual user. I'm so deep into this. There's no way out for me at this point. Even if I could get out, I would never be the same person. And I guess some of you know this idea or heard this, but I'm experiencing this phenomenon, a different kind of phenomenon, and most of you would know it as the invisible hand. Now I'm sure you've heard of that, but I don't know if anybody out there understands what that means. And because as I get more and more deeper into specifically Bitcoin, because that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing any other cryptocurrencies. But I can imagine, perhaps other cryptocurrencies could go through this. But I am experiencing the invisible hand working through me. Now, that's a lot to say. But if there's anybody out there who's really into cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, I'm hoping you have had the same experience that I'm experiencing. And not only do I see or feel, or I don't know how to explain it, just the invisible hand working through me, but I could also see it working through others, and how things just come along, and it almost seems like it's just meant to be, it's destiny, or it's just too weird to be coincidence. And it's amazing. And it's become so much greater than, and I know I said this before, Bitcoin has become greater than the creator or the creators. It has become greater than me. It has become greater than anybody out there. It's become greater than any bank. It's become greater than any country, any government. And, that phenomenon, and it's the only way I can explain it, is it's the invisible hand working. No one's making anybody do anything. But at the same time, I just sense an invisible hand working, either through me or through others, working, everything, just events, working time. It almost seems really bizarre to experience this, and the only way you're gonna understand this, if you want to, I mean, this could be, what I'm saying is kind of scary for some people. I don't know if the rest of the world is ready for this. But the whether you believe in the visible hand or not, you know, I don't know. All I know is there's something compelling me, pushing me, pulling me, and I can only explain it as the invisible hand. You just have to experience it. And like I said in my previous video, once you buy that Bitcoin, you just bought your one-way ticket to Bitcoinia. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced what I call, the phrase of you've entered into Bitcoinia. I don't know. No one's left a comment for me. The only comments I get on my videos is, "Hey, have you heard of Zetacoin, or have you heard of Olympia Coin? It's a billion times cheaper than dirt. Get into it now." I mean, that's the only kind of comments I really get. Some interesting comments. Pack is a good idea, but I don't get a lot of comments in where people say, "Hey, I know exactly what you're talking about. I hear you." I don't get a lot of those, and I'm not sure if it's just me. Maybe I am crazy. I mentioned many times where I feel the world has turned upside down. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense anymore. None of this makes any sense to me. I hope this video helps others. It is a documentary for myself, as well as others to view. I don't get a lot of hits on these things. I get a lot more hits on my Harbor Freight stuff and making stuff, fixing stuff. But when it comes to these videos, not a lot. So I'm not sure if this is making any effect, if I'm reaching out to anybody, or does anybody know what I'm talking about? Does anybody know what Bitcoin is? Anybody? I don't know. It's crazy. I'm trying to find answers. I'm really soul searching. Looking deep inside me, and I ask myself, why the hell am I doing this? I mean, I like to think it's for the money. I like to say it's for the money, or Bitcoins, whatever. You trade in money, Bitcoins, money. The point is you make a gain. I'd like to think or say that I'm doing this just for a gain. But the deeper I get into this, the more I do this, it's gone beyond, let's just make a lot of money, or let's just get rich, or let's just get a lot of Bitcoins. It's gone beyond that, to the point where I can honestly say I really do feel the invisible hand working on me, through me, in me, whatever. There's something beyond. There's something more to this than a fad. All right, this phenomenon is it's out there. It's crazy. I keep telling my wife, this is so weird, and her response is, I'm not even sure she fully understands. I'm a little afraid to tell her sometimes, because I don't know if she's gonna divorce me, But I can tell you, the invisible hand exists. It's real. And if you haven't experienced it, then you don't. I'm willing to even say, if you haven't experienced this phenomenon, then I'm not even sure if you know what Bitcoin is and even how it works. I guess you haven't entered into Bitcoinia, is what I would say. It's really strange for me to explain this. So when I read the article, it got me to thinking about that. And since since it's here, I'll talk about it. So I wanted to share that experience with you. I want to know, is anybody else out there experiencing this with me? Because I know I you know I work with miners, I work with other traders. I try to I talk to them a little bit. I throw a little something at them to see if if they're seeing what I'm seeing, or they're experiencing what I'm experiencing, and I and I don't get the feeling that they have. It's not when you talk to someone, you know that they know that you know that they know what you're talking about, But when I go out there, or when I communicate with others, obviously they buy and sell bitcoins, or they mine bitcoins, or they're involved in Bitcoin somehow. I don't get I get the feeling, or I get the sense that they're not quite that crazy like me yet. Um, maybe some of them are. I know maybe, but I can't be sure. It's almost scary to even talk about this. But here's the article. Read it, and I'm just sharing my experience, and this is a really good question. How do you visualize cryptocurrency? What is cryptocurrency for you? What does it mean to you? Is it just a way to get rich? When I started this, I thought this was something about money. I thought it was about financial freedom. I thought it was about, and you know what, it is, and to some degree, it's also about breaking out of that, breaking away from financial slavery. In my experience with financial institutions and money business services and money transmission services, it's been an interesting experience. And my experience with other investors, other traders, and other people somehow involved in Bitcoin for some reason, it's just strange. It's just weird. I often wonder, am I in reality? Is this even real? I don't even know if I'm dreaming anymore, or if or this is even real at all. I feel so confused at times, because you know experiencing the invisible hand working is a strange phenomenon. I've never experienced this, even when I was in the building material business, and when I first started my business venture. I never experienced that with that kind of business. But when it comes to Bitcoin, it is a different experience. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I'm trying to explain it, but I, the only thing I can say is you just have to experience it for yourself. And if you don't get anything out of it, then you don't. If you do, that's great. In this episode, I'd really like to get some comments from other people. What are you experiencing with it? What is this whole thing about for you? I first started out as something to trade and make money to supplement my other my recycling business that I was in, and I'm still in. Is it about sustainability? Is it about this or that? But every step of the way, it's just a new experience. Every step of the way is just a new experience, and it's been very enlightening. It's been mind-blowing. It's literally altered my life, literally, to the point where I don't even know what's real anymore. Anyways, Feel free to comment, like, dislike. I like to do a chart analysis, but uh, nothing's really changed, so I'm not even going to bother. I'll take a quick look at it if that's what you're really tuned in for. Okay. And here's a 6 hour, and you know, there's nothing really different. What you had another red scare, so this whole thing coming down was a red scare. I redrew the lines because, you know, I restarted my computer, and these are the lines that I came in, and this is a Bitstamp. And if you look how these lines worked out, I mean, you could kind of get an idea of what happened. Unfortunately, you know, everything's, you know, 2020 hindsight. But this is what Bitstamp is showing. And then we'll go to Bitsy, 6 hour. That's what Bitsy is showing. Now these are the lines that I drew. I mean, you can draw your own lines. You don't have to use any of my lines whatsoever. But you know, you can come up with your own chart analysis. And we'll go on to Bitfin. So here's another one for Bitfin. Let's go to Coinbase now. This, again, 6 hour. And there you go. You know, this totally makes all this totally makes sense, doesn't it? 2020, right? You know, you should have sold right here, man. That was the top of the market, and then should have bought here, and then should have sold here, and then should have bought here. It's a good buy, you know. No one can tell the future, but you know, if you're into trading, you need to make a trade. You need to trade. You need to make a buy. You need to buy. You need to sell. If you don't do anything, nothing gets done. So, anyways, this is not too much of a chart analysis, but for people who want to see a chart, there you go. Anyways, feel free to comment, like, dislike, even leave a video response. But most importantly, you know, I really want to know for the you know, 10 to 20 people out there, or it could be just one person just watching the video over and over again. I don't know. I only, you know, the most hits I get is like maybe 40 on some of the older Bitcoin trade episodes. But you know, I know at least there's got to be at least 5 to 10 people tuning into this. What do you think? What's going on? What is this all about? What is really going on? Leave a comment. Like other than I don't know, another coin coming up, it's cheaper than dirt, it's cheaper, a million times cheaper than dirt, you should buy this, you know, that's great, you know, but that's not this particular episode. I'd really like to reach out to the viewers, and I don't know where Legend X9 went. I don't know if he's watching anymore, but if you're out there, Legend X9, make a comment. I mean, what is your experience with this? Are you experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing? I'd like to know. It seems like you were trading longer than I have. But anyways, let me know. You know, please make a comment. Other than some other coin, this is cheaper than, a million times cheaper than dirt. You know, other than those people, let's see if anybody is experiencing anything remotely close, or tell me your experience with it. I'd really like to know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really go out and meet with other Bitcoin community people. Just because, you know, that's just not my thing. So, anyways, that concludes this episode. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye now.